Welcome to Project Comedy, a podcast by and for military veterans doing stand-up comedy, turning military banter into quality stand-up comedy acts. We might be veterans, but our comedy aims to get everybody laughing. If you're doing comedy, you have to take a series of big steps. The first one may not sound like one, but it is. Making the decision to give stand-up comedy a go is actually quite a big step. So many people have said to us that they think you have to be brave to do comedy, that it's really scary. So to make the decision is quite a big step. The next one is actually the real big step in doing your first gig, getting on that stage for the first time, doing a 5-minute set at a small open mic, maybe a new act, new material night. That is a big step. Next, you're trying to prove your worth, trying to get yourself a 10-minute slot, push your way for a paying 15-minute slot. So let's look at us ambassadors for Project Comedy. What are our next big steps? How are we going to get ourselves noticed? How are we going to prove ourselves? And is it something that other comedians can do? Is it something they can replicate? So we're going to push hard and take a very big step in the near future. To talk through those steps, I'm joined by Gabriel Murphy, a man who takes big steps to the bar to get the next Guinness. Jamie Johnson, that steps forward at enormous speed, providing his dungeon master lets him and he rolls the right D20 roll. Dan Wright, whose step routines were limited to the parade ground. And once again, our tutor, mentor, and professional comedian, Jay Sodagar. When we think of steps and Jay, he's the stepdad we always wanted. How the hell are you, folks?
Great.
I'm very good. I thought my intro was going to be, because my name's Jay and you were mentioning steps, I thought you were going to say he's only a couple of letters away from H, and that's all I was thinking. That's all I was thinking. But
I was more of an abs fan myself.
You fucked up my intro, Jay. You fucked it all up.
Well, I didn't think up that gag, so clearly that's the one you're going to use next. We haven't seen you for ages, Jay. What have you been up to?
I've been all over the place. I've been doing all sorts of things. I've been in a film. A film that I shot about 3 years ago is now actually being released out in the cinemas.
You know, porn revenge is illegal now.
Yeah. It's the Raymond Review Bar in Soho. I'm in it for about 3 seconds with a tissue, just wiping the screen down. That's all I'm doing. No. No, so that's coming out. I've been busy writing a new Edinburgh show. I've been gigging. I've been doing all sorts of things. I'm doing a garage conversion as well. This is it. I'm a man of many talents.
When you say garage conversion, is that home improvement, or have you just invented a new music genre?
No. My garage
now is garage.
Yeah, no, my garage now wants to identify as an office. So I'm doing the operation.
It's transitioning, is it? With some insulation and some partitioning walls.
The garage will now
render reassignment.
Yeah, the garage's pronouns are like it and the office. That's the pronoun. And quite right too. That's what I say. There you go. But yeah, I've missed this. I was saying this just before we started the recording and calling all the people who listen to this show absolute wankers and stuff. Before we did all of that stuff, like I've missed this. I've missed this so much. So it's lovely seeing Daniel and Jamie and stuff and Jay.
Not so much me.
but you know, no, it's been awesome. But yes, I've been listening to this podcast right the way through. It's like some damn good episodes. I'm loving this. I do keep telling people about this stuff, so yes, it's
nobody listens.
Nobody
listens. Well, they listen, hear Jay's intro, then fuck off. Get past the intro, people. It does get better.
I love you all so much.
That's what my mum does, to be honest. She just listens to the intro, sees that I'm on, and then fucks off. Fucking not listening to that fucking dose again.
I'll try and pretend that I have some degree of control and respect in this room. So let's actually get into, what the bones of the episode is. It's about taking next steps and what we're planning to do, and to see, if it's relevant, if it's something that other comedians can replicate. I mean, there's only so much you can do on the circuit to try and get noticed, especially if you've got a smaller circuit like me down here on the South Coast. We've only got small open mic gigs, not very many in the way of high profile professional gigs. So what can you do yourself spotted by other people? And it's great you're here, Jay, because you can actually point out to us if these things are relevant or not.
Yeah, sure.
If you ended up setting up your own gig, is that something that's worthwhile? Is that something that might be able to get you noticed by other people?
Definitely. Because when you're booking a gig, comedians want to gig. So their main contact is the person running the gig. And lots of people will then get to know who you are. But then you still have to prove that you're a comedian, not just a booker. So you still have to be funny and so on and so forth. So the reputation is kind of like your reputation is what you do on stage. So if you run a comedy club and you are a good comic, that kind of propels you up the ladder a little bit, because, oh, you're that really good comic who runs a gig. That's how you want them people, the industry, to look at you as opposed to, oh, you're that guy who runs a gig. Well, I've got all of these acts who want to come and play with it. I couldn't care less about you. So it's a lot of it is about how good you are as a comic. But yeah, no, I ran a gig many years ago as an open mic night, and it was great stage time, because I was emceeing the thing, and it was a lot of work that kind of went into it, and it was lovely. It was a lot of stress, but it made me a far better comic, because I had to MC the night, book the whole thing, manage the whole night and everything. And this was before mobile phones. This is how long ago this. I had black hair when I first started doing this. This is how long ago. and down below as well, I had black hair as well. Now it's just, it is the sea of grey right now. It is. I won't show you, but
you're talking about your toes, right?
Yes, of course. What else did you think I was talking about? But no,
you were talking about your delightful hobbit feet.
That all that walking down the Shires, gosh. But no, well, my point being is when I ran a gig, I was still very sort of like early in my kind of comedy career, but definitely running a club does help and stuff like that. But yeah.
And one of the reasons I raised that one is I've just been asked by my local Royal British Legion club if I'm willing to put on a gig there, and if it's successful, they want to turn it into a regular event. Now that would be the first open mic gig in Gosport, so I would have the corner on the market. And as you said, Jay, you're trying to be a comedian and an MC. I know that will push me well beyond my comfort zone, because I'll suddenly have to start doing crowd work and dealing with hecklers, because that's what the MC's there for. So I know it's going to be the challenge and push me on a bit.
This podcast is good practice. It's good practice.
Yeah, but I'm being heckled by mates. I don't take it personally.
Yeah, shit.
Do you take all our stuff personally?
Only when I cry myself to sleep, Gabe. Only when I cry myself to sleep. The other option is doing a show, putting on a full-length show, or doing a festival. Again, I'm going to point this back to the pro. Is that another way to get noticed? Is that better than running your own gigs? Is it really worthwhile doing a show at a fringe festival or something?
To be perfectly honest, if you ran your own gig, that would only get you so far in terms of recognition by the industry. That'll only get you so far. You doing a solo show and then taking it to, let's say, Edinburgh or Brighton or whatever it is, and doing a solo show and doing an hour, the industry will pay far more attention to that than anything else. I became a full-time comic. I was earning little bits of money before I did my first Edinburgh Fringe, my first solo show. So I was earning bits of money, but not enough to make a living on or anything. And then I went to Edinburgh and I did my first solo show. This was back in 2003. I still had black back then. I still had black hair. A few greys. A few greys.
Was you earning little bits of money for comedy or sexual favours?
No, that's how he got his bookings, was the sexual favours.
No,
paid him in just for men.
I hear there's a market for that in Gosport with all those sailors.
Same applies. They pay him just for men.
I just say I'm taking in laundry for sailors. That's what I call it.
I'll take my teeth out.
Like the standard Gosport lady. Yes, I understand.
But no, I mean, going back to the thing about, like, if you take a show to Edinburgh's the biggest arts festival around. If you take a show up to there, that's where the entire industry pay attention to you. And when I came back from Edinburgh in September of 2003, my diary filled up and made back all the money I lost at Edinburgh plus more throughout the rest of the year. So taking a solo show to a fringe festival definitely puts you in the industry. That's exactly what they're looking for.
How long was that solo show, Jay?
It was a full hour.
Full hour. So before that, did you only do 10-15 minutes and then you went straight into a full hour, and that skyrocketed your career?
Well, I was doing a few like 20-minute sets, but that was the longest I'd done. So about a year before, back in 2002, right, I made the decision of going to Edinburgh, and all I had at that point was just 20 minutes of material, plus all the B grade stuff that hadn't made it into my solid 20-minute set. And then I kind of set myself the target of doing an hour. And when you first start, you all know this, when you first start, 5 minutes can feel like a very long time on stage. Then 10 minutes, then 15, and then when you get to 20-minute sets, it feels like it ages. And the bit in between, there's no real kind of like soft leveled kind of way of staggered getting up to an hour. You just go from 20 minutes to then just going straight up and doing an hour. And something that's 3 times more than a 20-minute set. And it's like, wow, I've got to triple whatever work I put into this 20-minute set to do an hour. And the writing process that you kind of go through, that's where that really comes in useful, and you obsess over it. You're creating a whole original piece of a show, a whole original show, and then putting your name to it, and then telling everybody in the industry you're the guy taking this show up there. And then everyone starts to pay attention to you and so on. It's like, okay, well, you're a very good 20-minute act. Now you're doing an hour. All right, well, let's go and see it then. And that's when the pressure's on. You've got to muscle your chops. You've got to really kind of go, okay, I'm very good at what I do. Now I've got to prove that I can do an hour. And then when the industry then see that you're very good at doing an hour, 20 minutes is nothing. They're like when I come, usually whenever I come back from Edinburgh, in September, whenever I've got gigs and I'm doing 20-minute sets, I can't do 20 minutes. I can't do it. I'll always overrun for about a good month or so because I've got so used to doing an hour of them.
What? So some of your 20-minute gigs last 1 month and 20 minutes?
Yes.
That is a hell of an overrun.
Like a candod.
What do you lock the doors and people have to book like all their leave from work? It's
literally
never going to end.
Like most people have got 25 days annual leave, they just take it in September and then come and see me. This is it.
Throw all their money at you.
When you talk about the scale of it, that prompts sort of like a semi-technical question out of me, of when we've done courses with you both on the intermediate and the beginners course. So let's take the beginners course. You're thinking at minimum you're doing 8 punchlines a minute. Off through the intermediate course, you're suddenly pushing it, between 15 and 20 a minute. When you're doing a 1 hour show, are you still trying to maintain that kind of punchline rate?
Yeah, you are. When you're doing an hour, I would always kind of go, you have about 5 minutes in an hour where you can slow the pace down. All right. Minimum of 8, no maximum. And within an hour, you've got a grace period of about 5 minutes where you can slow the pace down. So that's where you can do some serious stuff. That's where, like, if you're telling a meaningful story, or you're making a point, or whatever it is, you can do that in an hour. But you can only do it for 5 minutes. The common mistake that a lot of people do is when they go and watch an hour show, they slow their punchline rate down for the entire hour. They are literally like barely like 2,
Right.
3, 4 laughs a minute. And that's really because they're still very, very new. And when they do their club set, then they're solid, they're right on point. The trick to making yourself stand out is to be funny as much as you are in your 20-minute set for a full hour. And if you've got a serious point or a story or something that holds this whole narrative of a show together, that the industry love that kind of stuff. All the best comics you have ever seen have got some 5-minute bit, whether it's broken up into little bits, but it slows the pace down, whether it's Bill Burr, or whether it's Bill Hicks or Michael McIntyre or whatever it is. They all slow it down. Even Al Murray, all these people, they'll slow the pace down a little bit and then pick it back up again. But what that really comes from is a discipline that comics have from the circuit, because we understand how quick you need that audience to pay attention to you. I remember, it's a quick story for you. I remember watching Jerry Seinfeld, right? A little kind of DVD of his. It was one of his first hour shows. And I thought, I'm just going to watch like 5 minutes of this. I had to go somewhere, right? I thought I'll just put it on for 5 minutes. And I thought it was genuinely 5 minutes. And I started the show, and then like, what I thought were 5 minutes later, he was going, "That's my time up. Thanks very much. Good night." And I was like, what? Put the thing on the DVD. A full hour had literally shot past. And it was literally because it was so tight, so sharp. You were laughing solidly right the way through, that this hour just disappeared. And that I always hold as a standard of a solid hour. That the audience walk out going, "That didn't even feel like an hour." An hour can feel like a long time if it's really drawn out and it's slow. But an hour can zip past if they're solidly laughing right the way through it. And I always genuinely believe that's the standard you should be at, even if you're doing an hour and so on.
Sometimes the introduction can be like 5 to 10 minutes, can't it?
Yeah. Like when you're doing a 5-minute set, when I first started, my intro to my 5-minute set was like barely 30 seconds, and then I'd get into my material and so on and so forth. But when I started doing an hour, my intro alone, even my intro alone for this year's show, is around about 10-15 minutes. And I'll plug the show. I'll plug the show because I am a whore. I am a whore. The show's called Man of the Century, right? The show's called Man of the Century. And it's I'm 50 years old, right? I'm 50 years old. I know. I used to have black hair. That's how long ago this was. But the show is about what I've experienced in life in my first 50 years on this planet, and then what I reckon is going to happen for the next 50 years. So a lot of it is a little bit of philosophy, but it's all very, very funny, and how I think things are going to turn out, and what I grew up with, and what I reckon the next generations are going to have to put up with, and so on and so forth, for the full 100 years. And I've lived half of that so far. So yes, so my intro is really just talking a lot about my hair when I was younger, and it was lovely. It was lovely hair. I wish you could see this. I genuinely, I'll dig out a photo. Actually, there are some old publicity shots of me. Google me right now, Jay Sodagar, right?
Jay, honestly,
see my black hair.
Everything I've seen of you online is pictures from about 10 to 20 years ago anyway. It doesn't have any.
Your profile picture must be 15 years old, Jay. Come on. I mean, they should be doing you on the Trade Descriptions Act when they turn up and this bald brown bloke turns up, rather than the sex god with the luscious locks.
Jay, is it weird? Is it weird that your hair's aged like Michael Jackson has as well?
It was black. It's now white. That's what's happened. It was black. It's now white. but I've not.
The irony with Michael Jackson was his hair didn't go grey. It's just his face went white.
Yeah, you can borrow that one if you like, me.
That's going in my intro now. That's going in my intro. It's already 15 minutes. You've now made it 20.
Just
Well,
let you know, I am available for writing for you ago, mate.
Seeing as you've done your plug, we're talking about big steps, I suppose this is the perfect time to reveal our big step and our big plug, in that those of you that follow the Project Comedy Facebook group will have already have seen this, but those of you that follow the podcast won't have heard this yet. Project Comedy will be doing a 3-night run at the Brighton Fringe Festival. And compared to what Jay's just said, we are cheating. We are not doing a one-man, 1-hour show. We've actually got 4 acts. We're breaking it into a four-header, and those acts will be the man, the legend that is Gabriel Murphy, the absolute sex god. We've got Jamie Johnson. He's sort of like a sex mini nymph. Hawk, my dog. To forget about me, I'm going to be there, and our great attraction for the evening. We can't believe this is happening. Jay, you're going to be closing for us.
Yes. And the thing is we can all talk about our hair. We can all talk about our hair. This is a good thing. This is a good thing, because Gabe can talk about his hair from like centuries ago. And Jamie's got hair. Jamie's got hair. Jay's got
all the hotel shampoo. 5-star.
I'm delighted by the fact that I'm 4 years older than you, Jay, and I've still got more hair than you.
That's marriage for you. That's marriage for you.
What are you talking about? I've been through 2 wives. How the hell have I still got fucking hair?
For Easter, I'm going to get you all trips to Turkey for a transplant.
But yes, no, that's so awesome. I'm so looking forward to it. And the fact that, you know what, is it like Jay, you've been gigging, Jamie's been gigging, Gabe needs to be gigging a little bit more, but like this will kind of got, that's 3 gigs that he's got kind of there. Hawk unintentionally has been gigging just because you've dragged him everywhere.
Yeah.
So Hawk can headline the gig. I'll open.
Have you seen Hawk's punchline rate, man?
That's just him getting his lipstick out, mate. I mean, that's enough giggles we can get out of that. We can make him MC with his cock out all the time. I suppose we ought to tell people the name of the show. I suppose we ought to tell people the name of the show and where they can find it. If you go to the Brighton Fringe website, go onto the search icon in the What's On. If you look up Gags Army, like Dad's Army, but Gags Army, it's got the same sort of logo as the good old-fashioned TV show. It's Project Comedy, Gags Army. We're going to be performing at the Walrus Basement on the 14th, 15th, and 16th of May. You can pre-book your tickets there. We've also, it's a pay-what-you-want show. You can pre-book tickets on the website, but what we have done specifically for the veteran community, military and veterans can get discounts on their tickets. So please go to that site. We'll make sure it's on our Twitter channel. We'll make sure it's on our Facebook group as well. Come along and see us make complete tits of ourselves, but come along for a bloody good 1-hour show.
Yeah, no. Listen, like I'm so happy about this, because it's like I saw all of you guys when you very first started during COVID, when we did all this stuff online.
I was going to say, Jay, can you believe this? That here we were, a minor project running through one of the lockdowns, only seeing each other via Zoom, and here we are, not even 2 years later, we're taking a show to Brighton.
Yes. No, this is so awesome. I cannot wait for the rest of the world to see Gabe and Dan. Well, Dan's not. Dan, are you doing?
No, I'm not coming. I'm not coming.
Oh well, let's ignore him then. Gabe. but
I no longer exist.
No, but I want to see. I want to see the world just take to Gabe. That's what I want. Because like, if people have been listening to this podcast, they know Gabe. But when they physically watch him live at a festival, it's like, wow, this is going to be something else. This is going to be. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this.
I was talking to a few guys last week about Gabe. I was talking to a few guys about Gabe last week and went, how would you describe him? Especially because one person had listened to the podcast. And I turned around and went, as I've said in one of my routines before, he is our dark soul of Project Comedy. He makes Frankie Boyle look like a panto fairy. He knows how to take us dark and dirty fast. So they need to see Gabe on the stage.
I think you might be overselling me a wee bit here.
I think underselling you more than anything. I was like, compared to Frankie Boyle, Frankie Boyle's like a children's entertainer compared to Gabe, isn't he?
Luckily, not a 1970s BBC children's entertainer.
No,
that's Gabe.
I'm starting to know how my stepdaughter felt to that dodgy Mexican fella when we went on holiday. Like, I was really overselling her. Like, oh, she's grand. Like, she'll do anything. Does the dishes and everything. She's great. She's not annoying at all.
You'd look good in a sombrero, Gabe.
What we'll do for 2 seconds is we will make sure the website's updated so there is a direct link to the Brighton Fringe Festival and our show. So let's just pause for a second and let you see how you can join Project Comedy and maybe even buy yourself a ticket to come and see our show. Would you like to join Project Comedy? The reality is, it couldn't be much simpler. All you have to do is get on the internet and find your way over to the Project Recce website. That's Project, the word Project Recce, as in RECCE.org. O-R-G. Have a look in the upper right hand corner, click on the menu and click on Project Comedy. Scroll down there a bit and you'll find a link that says apply now. That will send an email to one of our ambassadors. If you're even more bored, scroll down a little further and you'll actually see a couple of our ambassadors making tits of themselves on the stand-up comedy stage. Nonetheless, just click on the link, get in contact, and you can be as funny as you want to be.
If you had a scratch and sniff map of the world, what would your current location smell like?
Price.
Just for men, to be honest, just for men. I think it would smell just like that. And I don't even use it. I just open the bottle to smell what it used to be like.
I imagine Gosport smells of fish and Old Spice.
That's just me, mate. That's just me.
Oh no, sorry. Did I say Gosport? I meant your boat. But throw in fags as well. And I don't mean cigarettes.
Considering we're going to be putting on this show then, considering going to put the show on, and I'm going to load up first and foremost I'm going to start off with Jamie. I'm going to start off with Jamie. What is it you want to take to the Brighton Fringe? What do you want your set to be about? Or have you got any ideas, or how do you want it to feel for you?
Well, the first thing I'd take to the show is Dan as my fluffer. That's an essential ingredient for me.
Well, we can. I'm sure we can accommodate both of you Air Force boys together.
It would be the same as the rest of the week then. It'd be nothing different.
Hopefully something funny. That would be an advantage. Don't want 20 minutes of me jibber-jabbering on about nonsense, although that might be funny for some people. We've got Gabe that's gonna do his dark destroying of devilishly handsome men. So that's that side sorted. I'm gonna be a bit whimsical, I think. I might be the yin to your yang, Gabe.
But are you going to play with you? Because I know there are certain themes you love playing with. You love playing with the nerd culture, the OCD, and things like that. Is there going to be threads of that in it, or are you going to go out in a different direction?
Threads. There might be actual garments of that. Yes. Sewn into some semblance of order. Yeah, maybe a little bit of politics, depending on how funny the current government is at the time, which should be quite easy material, really.
Mate, you can guarantee it, unless we have a revolution between now and May, you can guarantee current state of politics will be funny.
My money's on Che Guevara. Come on. Viva la revolution, brothers.
Mate, that is saying something, that if you're hoping for a revolution by somebody that's been dead for several decades, that shows the state of our politics.
I want to vote for Mussolini. he was a guy.
Would it be untasteful for me to say Jerry Adams?
Whoa!
Fuck it, give him a go.
Well, it links me in nicely, mate. It links me in nicely. What sort of stuff do you want to take to the Fringe? What do you want to take out of this show?
I'm just going to bring my sweet, innocent little self. I'm not going to swear at all. I don't know. With me, I'll probably.
If you dare do that, you do realise. I know it's supposed to be a pay what you want. If you are polite and don't swear, people will be asking for money back they didn't even give us.
I don't know. I'm probably going to bring with me some sort of form of super chlamydia that Katie Price invented. And then just go along with the flow, really. See what the crack is. Probably leave Brighton with a huge dent in Guinness and rum, basically. Gonna try and basically annoy everyone as much as I can. But if I can't do it on the stage, I'm going to do it back at the accommodation with you two lads, because I'm just going to be playing my metal music, screaming their heads out, and
trying to fall backwards in a bath.
Yeah.
And considering you're going to be closing for us, Jay,
Yes.
what kind of stuff do you think you're going to end up doing after you follow 3 mental veterans?
Probably
apologising for me so much.
A lot of apologies. I'm so sorry. I didn't book them. They just went on stage and did.
Never seen them before.
Comedy is the most amazing art form there is, and what you guys sort of churn out in terms of material and what you do on the podcast and so on, and your personalities themselves is exactly what should be out there. So from an audience's perspective, they see a whole gamut of things, and if you get like ex armed forces people coming into the gig, they'll recognize it. They'll just literally see, like, you know, basically what it used to be like when they're all in service and so on and so forth, and the banter that goes around and so on. That's exactly what this show should be about. All of you, I'm very genuinely, I'm quite humbled. You're very, very good comedians. Gabe, but you're very good comedians.
Jay, are you not concerned? Are you not concerned in the slightest that this could completely destroy your career and respect?
Well, you're the one
50.
that was on stage with those 3 lunatics. You, that is.
I am 50. Part of me is thinking about retiring, but I'm going to go out and play some glory, damn it.
This could send you into early retirement. So, you know, I hope you've got a healthy pension fund.
Oh, we should have called the show Cancel Culture and all get cancelled by the end of it.
Jay's going to be fine. He's got
all of us
another
haven't got anything to lose. It's Jay. You're the one taking the biggest risk here.
No, the thing is, in all seriousness, in the fact that, like, from what you guys have done and what I've seen you all do and so on, and to actually go and take that next step and actually go to Edinburgh and actually Brighton, and do a show. That's a huge step. A lot of new comedians wouldn't even dare attempt something like that for years. You're kind of doing this literally within 2 years of starting. No, I'm so looking forward to it. I'm genuinely looking forward to this. There's 3 different styles. There's 3 different comics, 4 different if you include me. 4 different styles, 4 different comics. The audience would be like sitting there going, they've got everything that they could possibly want. They've got
And
the
the
dark,
dog.
they've got the light, they've got
Dan.
the dog. Yes,
Dog.
they've got the dog. They've got everything. They've got the handsome man that used to have great hair.
Oh, thank you. I look lovely.
But yes, no, I'm in awe. I genuinely am in awe. I never did, let's say, like a 2 or 3 hander before I went to Edinburgh. So I literally just went straight into doing the hour, and sometimes I do sit there and kind of go, I wish I did do like a 2 or 3 hander where I could just do 20-30 minutes a night to help me build up to an hour for the following year. But no, I mean, like you're taking it at the right pace that you're taking it.
We did actually do this as a dare, didn't we? We said let's do 2 or 3 night run in Brighton. Gabe just thought you meant the ale houses, which I was in agreement with.
I think this is an exciting step for us because it is that moment of. Now, we did toy with the idea of trying to go to Edinburgh, but, let's be honest about it. We're all damaged veterans in one way or another. Maybe that was a step too far, but this is a brilliant way for us to actually feel what it's like to do a multi-night show, prepare for a multi-night show, get used to that kind of venue. I mean, I'm still scared about the fact it's 110-seater that we're going to be playing. So you buggers out there listening to us, you better buy tickets because otherwise we're going to be the loneliest fuckers in Brighton, and not a single one of us is gay yet. We may convert when we're in Brighton because it may be the only entertainment we get. But I think this is a brilliant stepping stone for us. But equally, I mean, here's yet another shout out. We've got to thank Project Recce. None of this would be happening without Project Recce. We're very fortunate that we're doing this show because we have got the backing of Project Recce. They've helped us get the venue and our accommodation. Jay, make sure you send all of our love across to Alex and the team at Laughing Horse because we're doing it at a Laughing Horse venue. In fact, our first night, we're going on straight after the Best of the Fringe show at the Walrus. So, Laughing Horse, you support us so much. It's absolutely fantastic. But it's that moment of let's show what veterans can do. Let's show we still have some value. The tagline we've got for the show is bringing military humor to a civilian audience. They better brace themselves. I mean, I'm one kind of level. Gabe is going to take them to the next level, and we might need Jamie to try and bring him back into the room.
And I'm the civvy, so that's
No, the reason you're going on last, mate, is not only are you a draw, but it's equally we can blame you for everything. You're the bugger that taught us. You're the bugger that got us into stand-up. Right, if you think we were bad, you can now blame our tutor. Please welcome Jay Sodagar.
I've been introduced worse. That's one way. Here he is, the fucker who taught us. Here he is, Jay. Don't clap. Don't clap.
The last time I was introduced that bad was when I was in the docks. My lord.
No, mate. I honestly, because I still occasionally watch that video. The worst introduction you had was on your first ever gig. That mixed open mic night. I have never seen a comedian introduced to the stage so badly after a folk singer went, "I know comedy, Jamie Johnson."
Oh, I didn't see that video. Oh, I'm going to definitely see that.
All copies have been destroyed. I've just sunk to a new low.
Dan, what would you like us to be doing out there? What kind of material would you like us to do, or what kind of effect would you like us to have at Brighton?
If I was going, I think I'd like to bring cocaine and hookers. And then anal beads, I think.
No, I'll leave that for Gabe.
Eclectic mix.
Why is it I'm the instant go-to?
Seriously, you've got a mirror and you wonder why we say you're the instant go-to on these moments.
Yeah. And if it all fails, you can just put on I believe in miracles and take your clothes off, and that's bound to get a laugh.
That will be my run-to excuse to get off the stage then. How I
I'll
do
stay on
that with a
stage.
Labrador tied to my waist, I'm not quite sure, but I'll work on it.
I'll stay on stage. Fuck it. Cool.
Gabe was going to do that anyway. He was going to do I believe in miracles and strip off. Full Monty. The full Monty. I would do the full Monty Panesar. That's what I would do. There you go. There you go. A cricketing reference. A cricketing reference.
There is one thing I'd like to tell aspiring comedians that would like to do a show about, so they're forewarned for it. The application process is a freaking nightmare. I mean, I know this is only Brighton, so I'm assuming it's even worse for applying to do Edinburgh, but it was something like a 20-page web application you've got to do to the Brighton Fringe Festival, from everything from what's the name of your company, who's actually performing, then it goes into socio-demographics, what are your pronouns, and I'm not even joking about these elements. Then you've got to do a risk assessment for your performance. So are there triggering materials in it? Are you going to be shocking people? What are you going to do if a baby turns up?
That sounds like a
It is-
security clearance, not an application form.
Mate, I have been interrogated worse going for my DV, my deep vetting security clearance. I mean, at one moment I was expecting the website to go, can you bend over because I need to feel your prostate? Because the questions they were asking are frightening, but it's a horrific form to fill in.
I identify as funny, by the way.
Well, Jamie, you are transitioning. You are transitioning to funny.
Yes.
If I had £1 for every
Funny
gender,
fluid.
if I had £1 for every gender, I'd have about £1.60.
If I had £1 for every gender, I'd have £2 and lose change.
Project Comedy would like to state there may be more than 2 genders. We're not certain yet. This is still a political decision.
Cannot confirm nor deny.
And if there's any babies in the audience, just hide them from Gabe. That's the safest
Yes,
stuff.
definitely. Definitely.
Again.
What's
Jamie, let's ask you a question then. Jamie, let me ask you the question then. After doing the Brighton Fringe, after us doing Gags Army, what would you like the results to be? What would you like to be your takeaway, your result from doing the Brighton Fringe?
Bigger confidence. To take back to the local circuit. It must be a big uplift for you if you come away from doing a festival. Yeah, definitely. It definitely give me a good old morale boost, that would. Yeah. And to say,
and we're in a lucky position, aren't we? We're in a lucky position because we're doing it as a 4-header. We know how much time we've got to fill, and we know the other guys we're performing with, so we know it's going to be a fun night.
Yeah.
Have you ever found, Jay, do you ever find that performing on stage has got you extra attention from ladies, or just,
Which Jay are you talking to? Because do you remember Jay Sodagar is still married?
Well, yeah, but yeah, okay. You've both done a few gigs now. Have you at least?
I think Jay's done more than me, mate.
Have you at least been offered a hand shandy from around the back of the pub from a fat bird called Tracy?
Well, that's how I met Gabe.
Let Sodagar answer that first.
That's how I met Gabe. We met way before the course. And I still owe him money. I'm joking. I'm joking. No, I see the whole thing about this sort of like, you can laugh someone into bed or whatever it is. It's a total myth. It's an absolute myth. I've in my earlier days when I had my black hair, and it was long and luscious It was lovely, and every before I've got this now. But back when I did, yeah, you do get attention, but I think that's more this confidence thing that people see of you.
I thought you was going to say pity, but okay.
I think 3 times, and the only way how they showed that was not by having sex. It was just laughing. I'll give him some pity laughs. That's the best he's gonna get.
I've laughed many women out of bed.
I thought the pity was coming when you apologized after the sex.
Oh, never mind.
That's me. That usually I just go, oh, I'm really sorry. I put you through that.
I thought you.
And as for me, no attraction from the ladies. I mean, I'm running a gag at the moment that's sort of like I was drawn into comedy because of the illusion of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But with PTSD, it's ended up being masturbation, medication, and listening to Radio 4 comedy. That is the only person that gets attention when I come off stage is Hawk. Yeah, he could shag every member of the audience. I get nothing.
What sort of audiences have you got?
Dogs.
Wow.
Other dogs.
Mate, South Coast. That's what I've got. Gosport and Portsmouth and Southsea. They're all the same. I'll ask you the same question then, Gabe. What would you like the result of Brighton to be for you?
Getting all the bitches.
That's Hawk's job.
I honestly don't know. I mean, I'm jobless at the minute, so anything that I could get a job in, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything, if something comes of this, fantastic. I know for a fact that whatever this has done for me has done me wonders anyway. So if anything, I've already kind of got everything that I could want out of it. So anything on top of that is beyond belief a win for me. But yeah, another way of having a bit of social time, another laugh, a way to get veterans to come out and talk about stuff. And I've often said, like, straight from day one when we were doing the course with Jay, if I can make a veteran laugh and reconsider doing something stupid, then great. That's a purpose I've done. So,
because I know for a fact, I'm going to stick to my core material. It's where I'm happy. I will be talking about PTSD. I will be talking about, and trigger warnings for those that want to come along. But I will be talking about suicide attempts. I will be talking about what it's like to live with a psychiatric disability, because number one, it can be fucking funny, but laughing about this shit is great therapy, but equally great awareness that, loads of us veterans do fucking suffer. So let's laugh about it and have a really good time out of it. I'll throw the same question to you, Mr. Sodagar. How are you going to repair your reputation after this 3-night show?
I'm going to have to hire a PR consultant. I'm going to have to
I hear
go hiding for 2 or 4, 5, 10 years or something like that. I'm going to have to do something. No, I mean, to be perfectly honest, what I would love to see out of this is Project Comedy grow even bigger. And look, the tiny thing that I have done in this whole thing, the teaching the course, what I've seen, I've never seen anything else like it. But that's really because
in a good way, or
yes.
I wasn't sure whether that was positive or negative. So
in a very positive way, because what's kind of transpired from all of you is something that I didn't think was. I just teach comedy. That's literally it. But I've noticed now that it does have a huge impact on a lot of people with any kind of mental health issues, whether it be anxiety or depression or PTSD or anything like that at all. And I'm very, very proud of this is the father moment. I'm gushing now. You've done very well. You've done it. I'm proud of you.
We
Well,
love you, Jay. We love you.
Daddy Jay.
I'm the comedy dad now. I'm the comedy dad. No, I've seen
Our
so many.
stepdad, we love it.
I might not touch you though. I might not touch you. But no, I've
Well,
seen,
then
no,
you're
I've
not
seen,
my stepdad. I don't love you anymore.
no, I've seen so many students. I've taught so many people, and it's only kind of now, probably since I started teaching you guys, that I've become more aware of other students who have anxiety issues or depression, or they've gone through therapy and all sorts of things. So then see them go up on stage and perform and write material completely from their own subconscious part of the brain, and they've come all up with all of this stuff and be hilariously funny on stage, and then now suddenly start making a career out of it, whether it be just gigging on the open mic circuit, or whether it now start to doing festivals and so on and so forth. Like as far as I'm concerned, like, you know, I just want to be prescribed on the NHS and make millions. That's basically it. That's what I'm.
Yeah, mate. Can we do that? Because that would make your course what, £8.79 a prescription, rather than.
But no, I would genuinely want to see kind of like project comedy just grow massively, because I think like you guys are testament to it. It shows that it helps people and so on and so forth, and that's what I'd ultimately want to see, and maybe about 10 grand for my time, but
it ties me into me turning myself into a total sort of like publicity whore, and my big news over the last week, because it ties me into a very, very beautiful story. Some people will know about this, but I've been beyond honored. I'm now allowed to talk about it. I've kept it silent for the last 6 weeks. But the guys in Project Comedy knew about it, because there's no way I could keep it secret from them. I have been selected to represent the UK at this year's Invictus Games. If you've never heard of the Invictus Games, think of the Paralympics for wounded, injured and sick veterans and service personnel. So I was very proud to be at Greenwich, the old Naval College, for the big announcement to reveal the 65 of us that have been selected for the squad. Over 500 of us applied, and I'm one of the lucky 65 that's made it to the team. So I'll be out there doing archery, and I've ended up doing a couple of gigs whilst I've been going off to the training camps. And the most emotional moment of the entire time, when I was doing the reveal for our squad going forward, I was sat down at the launch lunch with a beautiful young lady called Frankie. She's been very heavily afflicted by her wounds. She's now in a motorized wheelchair, and she told me that the reason that she actually applied for the Invictus Games was because of my comedy. I was asking her, what the hell are you talking about? And she went, well, I laughed so much. I really loved your routine, but when I heard what you were talking about PTSD and how it's affected your life, I suddenly realized that I could turn my injury into a positive, in something constructive. And that's what made me apply for the games. Now, I'm going to be honest, I ugly cried at the table. I had a full emotional breakdown. But it just shows that what we can do in comedy, in something light-hearted, a piece of entertainment, can actually help some people.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I want to see. That you're already doing it. You're already doing it. This is great. That's great news. That's phenomenal news. All right, it's only me then. All right, fair enough. All the rest go over here. All right.
Magic of comedy.
Yeah, the boys aren't impressed, Jay. You're impressed. They know me. They're not impressed.
We're impressed.
I think you're fucking milking it, to be honest with you.
Well, the one nice thing that comes out of this, and I'm going to plug them now, is the Royal British Legion. The Royal British Legion are running the Invictus Games for the UK team. They're doing an absolutely staggering job. But what's really impressed me about them is when they found I've just applied for archery. That's my main sport. That's the thing I absolutely adore. When they found out about the comedy and what it's given me as recovery, they are beyond impressed. So as I'm doing my Invictus journey, trying to get ready to go to Dusseldorf in September, they've already told me they're going to be sending the RBL media team around to see what we're doing. I'm really hoping that the RBL media team will be coming down to see us in Brighton and plugging this in with local media, because they want to promote us as Project Comedy, using comedy for our own military recovery. So yeah, I'm quite happy to be a media whore and promote other people getting into this amazing art form that just helps you in so many different ways.
So what's the open mic circuit like in Dusseldorf then?
This is rather good, yeah.
Let's put it this way.
They're good.
Let's put it this way. Henning Vane does not work in Germany, does he?
He's
There
the
are quite a
only
few gigs.
German comedian for like the last 70 years or something.
The weird thing is, right, there are actually quite a lot of like comedy clubs that are like opened up all across Europe.
None in Germany.
English-speaking comedy clubs opening up all around Europe, just as we all voted Brexit and just fucking left Europe. And it's like, hold on, you like English? Why didn't you do this
Germans
20
couldn't have
years
fun in a
earlier?
brothel. I am now going to stick it in you. You will enjoy, yeah?
There's
Project
Daniel
Comedy
there.
would like to apologise to our German listeners.
No, we've
Yeah.
got
There's Daniel getting all of his comedy from Allo. There he is.
No, I think Dan's getting all of his comedy from the British Nationalist Party.
UKIP.
Yeah.
He's got Farage on speed dial. Waiting at Dover with his leather chaps on and his Fisher Price binoculars.
Does Nigel Farage have speed dial? Because that sounds a little bit too close to dial.
Yeah. I like.
Come on then, guys.
Speed dial.
Once again, I find myself on this podcast trying to herd freaking cats. I mean, I put 4 military comedians in the room and a pro, and I'm not even sure the pro's actually behaving properly either. Come on, let's try and send this off with the right kind of message. Is it worthwhile?
I get different ideas.
Is it worthwhile taking those big steps if you're moving forward in comedy? Yeah,
No.
Jay, I'll start off with you. If you're timid and waiting for somebody to spot you, are you ever going to succeed? Do you need to take those bold steps to become a proper comedian?
1,000,000,000%. For example, the comedy industry, and I'm talking about like bookers and like TV, film, radio, and people who can actually pay you money and so on and so forth. What they want to see is someone good at what they do. They're not going to go out and find you. They're not going to go and go, I've never heard of this person. Do you know what? I'm going to go to some small, tiny comedy club in the middle of nowhere in case something happens. Doing things that say like the Fringes and so on and so forth, that's exactly where they go and see it. So unless you put your head above the parapet and actually go and do something about it, no one's going to know. You'll just be your own little hero in your own little tiny thing. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, you have to get out there and show off what you do and what you learn and so on and so forth. And that's how you get picked up.
And I think I'd like to share this with any other veterans out that are toying with the idea of doing stand-up. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to want to have this as a career. What you would like to do is be able to do comedy where it becomes cost neutral. Because normally when you're on the open mic circuit, it's costing you money. You've got to get there. Then you're going to buy a drink when you're there. Then you've got to travel back. It's costing you money. Just to be able to get to a position where I currently reside, where around about 60% of my gigs, I get 10 to 15 quid for turning up. that suddenly makes it, it's a hobby that I've got, but it's nearly cost neutral. So stepping up and what have you can help you through. Gabe, how do you feel about taking the next big step?
Anxious.
Yeah, fair play.
No,
I'm just concerned when Jay's talking about putting your head above the parapet to 4 military guys. That's generally not a good tactic. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but at least we're not American. Our heads are over the top, not just our rifles.
Project Comedy would like to apologize to our American listeners.
no, we fucking
We
wouldn't.
definitely would not.
Yeah,
Y'all.
fuck 'em.
I think we have actually offended every part of the world in this podcast alone. I think we have. I think we've covered it. Aussie,
Do we close off? Do we close off by talking about the SMP? So we can end up sort of like really just annoying the Scots. So we've got a domestic terrorism situation going on.
Let's avoid Ukraine. That will be a killer.
Hey, come on.
We're going
I think
to
it's bad enough
alienate
we've got
our
an Irish
bright
fella here,
listeners
we
in
don't
about
talk about domestic
6
terrorism,
weeks.
do we?
So
Both of
Advance
you are going to have to
apologies.
say that again, and it's going to be a real editing job. One of you go first, either
Go on,
Gabe
Jamie.
or Jamie.
I said it's a bit of a bad thing to be talking about domestic terrorism with an Irish fella. No.
You are.
We're not terrorists anymore.
Gabe. Let's be honest about it. You're our domesticated terrorist.
I reckon I'd be really good at terrorism, you know.
Is a domesticated terrorist someone who makes sure all the creases are ironed out of the bomber jacket?
No, it's the bombs are carbon neutral.
Environmentally,
when the bomb goes off, they only leave 5 grams of carbon.
environmentally friendly IEDs. Come on, people. This is the revolution we need.
Yes, I was about to say we're going to alienate our Brighton listeners in about 6 weeks. So advance apologies.
We'd like to
I think that requires
Brighton.
I think
You
that
never asked
requires
me.
all of us to sign up for Grindr profiles before we actually get to Brighton.
Well, at
that's
least
one
we
way
can
of getting
fall
a
back on
crowd.
Grindr if the comedy doesn't work. Yeah.
Why don't you all get on Grindr and just invite a load of guys as though it's a date to the gig, and so they all turn up. It would be awesome. Just a bunch.
Mate, you know the gag I've used in my routine, and it's not even a joke, it's a truism. So a couple of mates of mine that live in the marina are a gay married couple. They did sign me up to Grindr. I didn't get a single match. I am repulsive to both genders.
In regards to Brighton, just for your clothes.
Imagine if that was a
Calm down.
Britain's Got Talent backstory.
I can see the violins playing right now.
I wanted to be gay, but they wouldn't let me.
Just dead sad
Dan
music's playing.
Dan keeps ducking
My
off
mum always
the
said that.
Grindr app.
Imagine I could see you on the Britain's Got Talent stage. And Simon asking you, so Jay, what are you going to do for us tonight? And then you just sort of break down in tears. and then it cuts away into a bit of a backstory. Oh, my gay friends. They put me on Grindr. Didn't get a match. Never had a match.
And then
Now I'm here.
before you've even started your act, someone just presses the golden buzzer and you're through. I don't care anymore. It's through. It's through to the fight.
And then Hawk walks out with his lipstick.
On the match, it's a dog.
Starts rubbing against Amanda's leg.
You never asked me the question on stepping up from Brighton. Is that because I'm naturally meek and mild and wouldn't make a move past Brighton? Is that what you think? Yes, I absolutely do think it's a step in the right direction for Project Comedy. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
Because we've got to take it forward and prove to people
Project
what we can
Comedy.
do in a larger profile, don't we?
Absolutely.
In that case, the only way I can actually sign off this particular episode is plug us again. please go to the Brighton Fringe Festival website. Look for, you can look up Project Comedy or Gags Army. You can buy your ticket there. Please, we are running the 14th, 15th, and 16th of May. It's only a couple of days after my birthday, so you can buy me a birthday pint if you want to. Come along, have a freaking good night. Not only that, if you're into comedy, you can come and see us, and then you can bounce around the rest of the festival and see some amazing shows down there. We're going to have a great time out there. We'll keep on plugging it. We'll keep on making the podcast happen and telling you about how we're preparing for the show. I've got to close off the standard way I do. Thank you so much to all of my my fellow participants on this podcast. Gabe, you're always a delight. Jamie, stop being so freaking polite. Dan, turn up every now and again you get. We miss you. And of course, to the God himself, Mr. Jay Sodagar, who will be closing for us. If there's one thing you've got to come to Brighton for, it's to see our tutor perform and deal with a bunch of broken military veterans. Thanks, guys, so much for recording tonight.
Right, that's it. I'm off to find 5-star hotels on Brighton now.
And also, Dan's still got to do a minute on Mumsnet from about.
I still don't even know what it is. But guys, what I can do is send you all good poppers.
You don't get them on Mumsnet, Dan.
Still don't know what it is.
Not Mumsnet.
If you're off to Brighton, have a couple of pints, have some poppers, see what happens. That's all I'm saying.
I don't say that, Jamie. It depends on the mum.
Good point, well presented.
Right.
I tried pegging the other day. All the washing was out on the line. I didn't see the point in like why people go on about it so much.
On such a delightful gag from Gabriel Murphy.
Yeah.
That has been Project Comedy. We'll see you at the next episode. As always, see you next time.
TFN.
Thanks for listening to the Project Comedy podcast. Please support our veterans as they continue their comedy journeys. To find out more, including gigs our veterans are doing, please search for the Project Comedy group on Facebook, where you'll also find links to Project Recce, the veterans charity that makes Project Comedy possible. If you want to see what we're actually like on stage, please have a look at our YouTube channel. Search for Project Comedy, Veterans Doing Stand-Up, and look for our black and white logo that's exactly the same as the one we use for this podcast. You can also now follow us on Twitter. We can be found at Proj Comedy. That's at PROJ Comedy. And me, Jay Saunders, I can be found on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter if you look for Comic Jay Saunders. That's all one word with the letter J in the middle. Comic Jay Saunders. Thanks again to everyone that's taken part in this episode. Until next time.